Hey everyone, I'm Edson Ortega, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so excited to share something pretty personal with you today. We're going to look at exactly how I went from knowing literally zero English to hitting a solid B2 level. And hey, I'm still going. And no, my journey absolutely did not involve those mind-numbing grammar drills or endless translation lists. Instead, I kind of hacked the process. I combined the absolute best of two worlds, the Fluent Forever method and Comprehensible Input. So, let's dive right in. But first, we gotta ask a question I think we all know a little too well. Why do traditional language classes leave us completely unable to speak even after years of studying? I mean, we definitely share this frustration, right? We sit in a classroom for years, we memorize rigid grammar rules, we write down massive translation lists, but the second a native speaker actually talks to us, total freeze. It's incredibly frustrating, and honestly, it happens because the traditional method is just broken. So here's the secret. There is a massive difference between conscious learning and subconscious acquisition. See, conscious learning is the classroom stuff. You do drills, you study rules, and you basically force yourself to output or speak way before you're actually ready. True acquisition, though, it's totally different. It's how our brains naturally absorb languages when we're kids. We acquire language through massive immersion and by actually understanding the meaning of messages. It's automatic. It's completely subconscious. So we clearly need a better roadmap. Here is our agenda for today's explainer. Number 1, the language learning problem. Number 2, phase 1, pronunciation first. Number 3, phase 2, zero translations. Number 4, phase 3, comprehensible input. Number 5, grammar as a map. And finally, number 6, the final phase, output. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the language learning problem, and why our brains literally filter out foreign words. You see, your brain is kind of like this highly efficient, ruthless filter. It constantly tosses out foreign words because, well, they just don't seem important to your survival or your everyday life yet. The workaround I found for this was the Fluent Forever approach by Gabriel Weiner. This methodology was honestly the first half of my success. It bypasses that mental filter entirely by making words deeply, deeply memorable. We do this by anchoring words to actual sounds, vivid images, and personal memories. Let me show you exactly where to start. Moving right along to section 2, phase 1, pronunciation first, building the foundation of sound. Okay, so this was the exact first step I took. Most people want to rush straight into learning vocabulary, but you absolutely have to train your ears to hear those foreign sounds first. If you don't, you end up building what we call broken words in your memory. To fix this, I used an SRS, or a spaced repetition system. Basically, an SRS uses automated flashcards that track your progress and mathematically schedule reviews for the exact moment right before you're about to forget them. I personally used an app called Anki to lock these brand new English sounds directly into my long-term memory. Real game changer. Which brings us to section 3, phase 2, zero translations, thinking directly in your target language. The second major rule of Fluent Forever is you have to throw away your native language translations completely. Just toss them. If you're always translating back and forth in your head, your brain is just wasting so much processing power decoding sentences. We gotta cut out the middleman. For instance, if you want to learn the French word for horse, cheval, do not write down the English word horse. No way. Instead, connect the foreign word cheval directly to a picture of a horse. In my own English journey, instead of studying dog equals parrot, I just used images. Connecting words to visuals creates a permanent direct memory. So, to build up your basic foundational vocabulary, here are the steps. Start with the 625 most common concrete words. I focused only on things you can actually see and physically touch, like a dog, a car, an apple. Why? Because they are so much easier for your brain to anchor onto. Step 2, connect them to images, not your native language. And step 3, lock them in using your SRS, like Anki. This builds a practically unbreakable foundation. All right, section 4, phase 3, comprehensible input, the engine of language immersion. Once I had that solid base vocabulary established, I completely shifted gears. I started following the philosophy of Steve Kaufman. If you don't know him, he's this incredible polyglot who speaks over 20 different languages. He also co-founded Link, which honestly became my absolute main tool for learning English. Kaufman believes that massive language immersion is the real engine behind fluency. And this specific idea basically changed my life. He says you acquire language by understanding messages, not by studying rules. Just think about that for a second. I immediately stopped reading boring textbooks. True language acquisition only really happens when we expose ourselves to content and messages that we can genuinely understand and actually care about. So what exactly counts as comprehensible input? Well, the secret sauce is finding real native content where you already understand about 80 to 90% of what's going on. I just started reading and listening to things I genuinely enjoyed anyway, like history, fun podcasts, the daily news. And using Link was literally perfect for this. It tracks your progress by highlighting new words in blue and learning words in yellow. You just kick back and consume content you actually love. Now on to Section 5, Grammar as a Map, Navigating the Territory. Right about now, you might be wondering, okay, Edson, does massive input mean you just completely abandon grammar study? Well, the short answer is no. But in this methodology, grammar is just a map, not the territory. The map can help you navigate, sure, but you still have to physically walk the terrain yourself by actually reading and listening. I only looked up grammar rules when I noticed a specific pattern in my reading that I just couldn't figure out. Instead of doing textbook exercises, I would take really interesting sentences right out of my books and turn them into fill-in-the-blank cards in Anki. Which leads us to number 6, the final phase, output. Speaking when your brain is actually ready. You'll notice that speaking is the absolute last phase here. To make that final push toward my B2 level, I finally had to practice output. I started writing on a website called Lang8 and using italki to get real corrections directly from native speakers. And to practice speaking, I played what I called the taboo game. Basically, if I didn't know an English word, I had to describe it using other English words I already knew. Absolutely no switching back to Spanish a lot. Let me tell you, that forces true fluency. Now, it is absolutely crucial to set realistic expectations here. Research shows it takes roughly 600 to 1,000 hours of comprehensible input to reach conversational fluency in a European language. It's a journey, guys. It takes time. But honestly, every single hour you spend enjoying a cool podcast or reading a gripping book is bringing you one step closer. To wrap up today's explainer, I just really want you to remember that language learning is a sport. It takes consistency, and above all else, it has to be fun. I really hope my personal journey from 0 to B2 showed you how you can apply Fluent Forever and comprehensible input to your own daily routine. So the big question is, what language are you going to start acquiring today? You can absolutely do this. Make sure to hit subscribe to follow my progress and to learn even more ways to master your target language. Catch you next time.